Clash of the Classics.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Horsepower for an Hour. I'm Donnie. I'm your guide for the next classic tour. So here's what we want you to do. We want you to sit back, grab your favorite beverage, enjoy the ride. If you're new to the show, maybe this is the first time you're tuning in, you're going to find every week we look at two classic models, and then we talk about the interior, we talk about the exterior, we look at the engine, we look at the transmission. Sometimes we'll talk about differential ratios, we talk about the entire car, and then we decide which car we like. We welcome you to let us know which car you like. Head on over to our website, horsepoweronline.com, or leave us a message right here on our YouTube channel. These battles are fueled by the largest automatic transmission network in the world. They are the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, or quite simply, the ATRA. ATRA.com is where we want to get you. Normally we look at two cars. Today I think I'm going to make a change. I'm going to kind of change up just a little bit. I'm going to call an audible here at the line. I'm going to talk about just one platform, and that is the 1956 Ford F-100 pickup. Definitely one of the coolest trucks. And when it comes to classic trucks, the 1956 Ford F-100 pickup, clear favorite, no doubt about it. Few trucks have inspired the classic truck world quite the way the second-gen Ford pickup truck has, which probably explains what is almost, at least to me, seems like cult-like following. I mean, this thing has really developed one heck of a following. The 1953 through 1956 Ford F-100 pickup had a cleaner, I guess more modern style than the first-gen pickup. It looked tough. It was solid, had an outstanding kind of look. Another big part of the F-100's appeal was a well-designed cab that was, and again, comfortable to drive. I liked it. I mean, I drove one of these for years. I had easy-to-reach controls, and many critics of the early second-gen truck, they would contend that they weren't powerful enough. While the 101 horsepower six-cylinder and the 110 horsepower flathead V8 were carried over from early years, and they kind of lacked sufficient low-end torque. Well, then in the mid-50s, the flathead was replaced by that new overhead valve V8, that Y-block, that was kicking out about 130 horsepower. Late 1950s versions of the V8 generated somewhere near 176 horsepower, and then the output for the six-cylinder was also continued to rise. It was somewhere right at or near 137 horsepower. And then on March 13th of 1953, I have that date memorized, by the way, the Ford-O-Matic transmission became an option, and of all the automatic transmission designs of the time period, that cast iron Ford-O-Matic was probably one of the best. The gear train was so reliable, and we've talked about this in many episodes in the past, that Ford used this all the way through 2008. There were many revisions that occurred over several decades, but the basic gear train design, it endured for nearly 55 years. Listen, I mean, 55 years, that is incredible, people. That is, you talk about getting your money's worth out of design. That is most impressive. But the original stock suspension on the early Ford F-100, a bit unreliable, I guess you could say. Many owners back in the 50s complained it was difficult to keep the truck in the lane at higher speeds. The steering gearbox was traditionally sloppy. Many of you remember that had that big, large diameter steering wheel. Only exacerbated the problem. Well, here today, for you folks that are building these trucks, there's a number of quality suspension upgrades for both the first and the second-gen F-Series pickups, and they're pretty reasonable, simple to implement, and then as far as the cost is concerned, like I say, it's definitely easy on the wallet. Unfortunately, for all us F-100 enthusiasts, Ford built quite a few of them. The Ford trucks that followed in subsequent years were lower, and they're kind of like, I guess, more car-like, which may be the reason why so many people still prefer the truck from the 1953 to the 1956 generation. But if you're serious about becoming an owner, you can usually find someone willing to part with one for a reasonable price. I mean, it's hard to say where they're going to range from. It depends on how well the truck's been built. But as far as total production numbers, back in the 50s, Ford made 137,000 of the short beds and 25,000 of the long beds. But for me, The 56 short bed F-100 always has a special place in my memory. My dad took me to school each morning in his old truck. He bought the thing brand new in 1956. I'll just never forget the feel of the interior, the instrumentation, the layout on the dashboard. It's just those memories are permanently and indelibly etched in my memory, no doubt about that. But this is one heck of a cool classic, and whether you're a fan of the classic Ford or not, I think that just about everybody would agree that the 1953 through 1956 Ford F-100 pickups, they are definitely legendary in today's classic car market. So that's about the time we have. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. Today's Clash of the Classics made possible by the largest automatic transmission network in the world. They are the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, or simply the ATRA. With certified service providers all across America, it's easy to find peace of mind when it comes to transmission service and repair. Next time your car is having a transmission problem, head on over to atra.com to find an authorized transmission service provider near you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.